I will say, like having been in that job, I don't like to judge because I know how difficult it is. And I will say, really the only people that really know what's going on is the 9 people in there. It's kind of like a marriage in that way. If you're not in it, it's hard to really tell what's going on inside.
This episode of Bring Back the Porch brought to you by Bernie Leahy, River Street Realty. Let's get you home. And joining me on the porch this time is Kris Samraj, who is running to become the mayor of Medicine Hat. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Now, we were talking before we sat down here. When you made your announcement on social media that you were going to be a candidate for mayor, the line that struck me was, I may not be the best person for the job. It got my attention. A different way to start out a campaign. Was that intentional or?
Yeah, I guess I have a hard time giving people the hard sell. And so, candidates, their job is to put their name forward, but ultimately it's up to you guys to decide who's the best person for the job. I guess it's just an acknowledgement of that reality.
What was the decision that you took to become a candidate for mayor? Because you had been a councillor before. You decided against not running in the last round, 2021. What made you want to jump back in again?
I love municipal politics. I think it's just a really interesting job. I had a great experience the first time around. Yeah, I think, provincial and federal politics gets a lot of the attention, a lot of the kind of glamour for as far as politics, but I think municipalities actually is where a lot of interesting things can actually happen.
It is the form of government that is closest to the electorate.
Absolutely.
And I know Graham Kelly used to tell me, he said, the job never ends because whether you're in the grocery store or watching a football game or whatever, there's always your constituents there telling you what they want. So you can't really escape it.
Yeah, and I think what I also like is, a lot of things is ideological nowadays, but at the municipal level, it's much harder to make decisions purely based on ideology. So it becomes much more practical because all the things you're doing are very practical day-to-day things.
Now, what have you been doing for the past 4 years since you left council?
I joined the Army Reserve right after that, so I'm working as a lieutenant with the South Alberta Light Horse right now. And then my wife got into school at the U of A, so we moved up to Edmonton for a couple of years so she could attend school. And while I was up there, I worked as a policy analyst for Alberta Municipalities. Alberta Municipalities is a member organization made up of all municipalities in Alberta, and so I got a chance to work with them, which, if you like municipal politics, it's like being in a candy store. It's an amazing opportunity, amazing organization. You get to learn everything about everything. You get to travel the province. You get to work with elected representatives from all over the province. You get to work on the provincial side to see how policy and legislation is developed. Fascinating experience.
So you have written extensively over the last 4 years about governance and politics and the procedures of how councils work. You've also probably watched how Medicine Hat has functioned over the last 4 years. From your observation, what kind of, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for here? What are your conclusions been over the last 4 years as to how the council was operating?
Yeah, I feel for them. Obviously, it's a tough situation. I will say, having been in that job, I don't like to judge because I know how difficult it is. And I will say, really the only people that really know what's going on is the 9 people in there. It's kind of like a marriage in that way. If you're not in it, it's hard to really tell what's going on inside.
So when you're watching from the outside, people make, I guess, wrong assumptions about what a council can do and what they can't do?
Yeah, in general, you hear the line, council is governance and administrations and operations. In reality, there's always gray areas there that you have to figure out. And again, this is not the only city that struggles with this sometime. And I guess I also take a kind of bigger view of this. Medicine Hat has been around for 120 years now. Mm-hmm. 4 years to learn some important lessons here about, how council should function or how important teamwork is. That's okay.
Do you think that the mechanisms are in place for a rookie councillor coming in to get their feet under them right away, or are they learning a trial by fire?
Yeah, it comes at you fast. So right after election, the city, moves into budgeting, which is November and December. So you really don't have a lot of time to, to get your feet under you there. The schedule of just how municipal government works definitely doesn't do new councils any favors on that front. I'm not sure what the solution to that is. That just might be the way it is. I guess one solution would be that the public lets the previous budget play out, and then gives them a year to actually get their strategic plan in place, get their feet under them. But I don't know if that's a reality or not.
What kind of a mayor would Kris Samraj be?
Well, these are the questions. These are the questions that I dislike the most. I like the specific. I like the specific policy questions. I guess the mayor position has a lot of, they only have one vote, so it's not like you can force things. But they do have control over just tone and how the whole group kind of functions. Definitely, chairing meetings is one thing that is an underrated kind of skill. I love chairing meetings. It's like a very fun thing. Setting agendas, like making sure that, I guess, one thing is just getting the whole team to understand we've got 4 years, goes by fast. These are all the things that are on our plate. Let's talk about what you want to do. Things that, a lot of municipal projects take years to plan. So there's already stuff on the book. So it's not like you're starting with a blank slate. So I guess Kris is mayor, just some of that perspective there about how the 4 years are going to go.
Sounds like you're talking about leadership.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I'm sure everybody's talking about leadership. It's easier said than done. I think that's the hardest thing to project in somebody who hasn't done the job. So, you can prepare as best you can, but just because somebody looks good on paper doesn't mean that they're going to succeed at the job, because it is a difficult job.
But you have the experience and the background as opposed to someone who's never done it before.
Yeah, I mean, I think that definitely helps. This is one of those things where you control what you can control. And so, definitely before I ran for council, I spent 3 years, watching from the gallery, and then quit my job to do it full time. What definitely accelerated my learning there. So I was able to attend, every committee meeting, which was great. And then the last few years, just to have some distance from that experience has been helpful.
2025, the City of Medicine Hat. What kind of shape do you think we're in? What do you think the challenges are, the biggest challenges we're facing going into the next 4 years?
Yeah, I know that, politicians are always telling you that this is the most important election, but I've been hearing that, for going on 15 years now. So it can't always be the most important election. I will say, when we came on to council in 2017, the city's financial picture was much more precarious. So I think people have kind of forgotten what was going on at that time. The natural gas production company was bleeding money because natural gas prices had just cratered. And so, we were facing, a significant dependence on that company, burning through reserves. We hadn't saved for our abandonment liabilities. So, so right now I would say the city is in a better financial shape. I know there's a lot of talk about the amount of reserves that the city has. And I agree, maybe the city acquired them too quickly, but the reserves are very important to kind of weather some of the things that the city needs. So, we do need $200 million for our abandonment liability. So, thank goodness we have that now, because we didn't have it before. There's $500 million coming up in capital asset replacement for the electric utility, even without Samus Solar. So we've got 200 in heritage savings. Okay, we might need that. And then again, in general, core city services are in good shape. Infrastructure is above average compared to other cities. Solid police force. Fire response time is best in the province, probably best in the country. Obviously these things are expensive, but these are not nothing.
And they're all products of past council's foresight. Right.
So, you never can take credit for all the good things that are going, and it's never all your fault for all the bad things that are going. So, it is. It's really hard to, because some of the decisions you make, you don't see the implications until years in the future.
One of the things that is going to be probably top of mind for a new city council is the MCC, the Municipally Controlled Corporation, whether or not to take some of the, responsibility for operating the energy division and moving it to an arm's length corporation, away from councillors who maybe don't have the background to understand all the nuances of running a large energy department. Your thoughts on that?
I was at the June public hearing when this came before council. I spoke in favor of an MCC, but I also stayed for the hearing, and I heard about the opposition and some of the concerns that was there. I do think there are creative ways to bridge the two sides. But halfway through the hearing, a gentleman got up to the microphone and he said, what problem are we trying to solve? From his perspective, the city had operated these companies for a century with no problems. So what are we doing? I think, again, it's a good reminder about that our attention is on our electric utility, but there is a twin company here, the natural gas company. And we had $1 billion resource that we used up for a century, and we used it in all kinds of ways to benefit the community. But then that was a finite resource, so that ran out, and we were not really prepared for that. So I guess I try to think of what those lessons are for the electric utility. Obviously, it's a different kind of company, but when times are good, people can't see the risks there. So the electric utility may not always make money. There is some serious regulation risk because all our assets are, natural gas powered. There is technological risk depending on whether battery storage comes online, and which may make our fleet uneconomical at that point. So yeah, when times are good, it's hard. I think people think that it's just going to continue like this forever, and it may not. But yeah, so like some of the concerns I think are valid, and I think it doesn't have to be a compromise in the sense that nobody's happy. I actually think the compromises could be really interesting. So if people are concerned about, a skills-based board not being from here, okay, we can stipulate that you have to live in Medicine Hat. If people want more political control over an MCC, we can structure term limits shorter or longer depending on how much control we want. If people don't want a corporation, and it is a hard time to have a conversation about corporations because, corporate greed is everywhere. And the thought of a publicly owned corporation kind of taking us to task, that doesn't feel great. So, but again, we can structure this anyway, not losing sight of the overall goal of this, which is to help council make better decisions, and a skills-based board would do that there.
How does the Salmon Solar project fit into the future of the electric utility?
I have an open mind about this project. One of the arguments about not moving to an MCC was that, we've got talented staff. We should just rely on their judgment. I guess so they've recommended this, but now people don't want to listen to that. So I guess you can't have it both ways. You can't ask for staff's recommendation, but then only listen if it's some project that works for you. There is, I think there is a role for solar here. The nice thing about solar power is that it dovetails, peak solar power overlaps with peak air conditioning demand. So there is a case for that. And I think some of the lessons from previous projects that the city has done should be kept in mind. So the solar thermal concentrator is one that comes up often.
Yeah, everybody says, "Well, that was a waste of money."
So there's some key lessons I think from that project. First is that two technologies are completely different. The second is that that was a innovative project. So it was an experimental project, economical in warmer climates. They were trying it up north for the first time to see whether it would work. It didn't work. So the lesson I took away from that is, okay, if you want to be innovative, that comes with risk. Obviously, the city has a low tolerance for risk. Okay, so you're not trying to be innovative. You're just trying with proven methods, which is what, solar is proven right now. So again, different technology. The other lesson I took away from that is, so that was a joint project with the federal government and the provincial government. There were cost overruns, which the city ended up eating. So like again, so like you want to have that maybe in writing with these partners if things go over budget, that they're going to share in that as well.
Go in with eyes wide open.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Economic development is another issue that has, I think, been in every campaign that I have covered since 1978. And I have said here before that maybe that means somebody's not doing it right.
Yeah.
Would you be a salesperson as mayor for the city of Medicine Hat? Would you take that on?
Yeah, I think the problems are deeper than just a good salesman to go door to door, bring in new businesses in. Yeah, I've thought about this a lot. You're right. Every election this comes up. I think there's some things to keep in mind there. First is, like everyone wants to say that they're open for business. There's actually some interesting things about municipal taxation that people are not generally aware of. So the Medicine Hat advantage has been pretty narrowly defined historically to mean low single-family residential taxes. Business taxes have not been low.
No.
And traditionally, I would say they've been high to above averagely high. So, like everyone's asking for economic development, not realizing that this is the major impediment to that. So the University of Calgary School of Public Policy did a research study where they looked at this, for the last 30 years for municipalities, and they found that for every 10% you increase business taxes, there's a 7% decrease in investment, which makes sense. Mm-hmm. You want less of something, you tax it, that's what happens there. So, I think that is a conversation we need to have, because again, everybody talks about incentives, and I guess incentives are inefficient in a lot of ways, and we're going to run out of money before we can actually get the kind of economic development that we want.
Economic development sort of rolls into different areas. We talk about affordability in Medicine Hat, and if your businesses that are currently existing can't afford to do business here, then how do you bring in new business? So we have heard from the candidates that have come through the porch so far this year saying maybe we need to look after what we have first before we talk about attracting others.
I agree. The return on investment for business retention and expansion is much higher than trying to bring new businesses in. I get that everybody wants to grow, bring new businesses in. Yeah, it's a lot easier to make sure that what we have works. Because again, a lesson, we always make mistakes, so it's important to learn the lessons so you try not to repeat them. So we asked Invest Medicine Hat while I was on council. We gave them a very specific mandate: seek out large-scale industrial economic development there. And they were successful, right? They brought back Aurora Sun and they brought back Hut 8. Aurora Sun, we forgave $6 million in development fees, which every other business had to pay for. And that didn't work out. So I guess the lesson I took from that is, again, new businesses, they pit municipalities against each other. So it's a race to the bottom. And then the other thing is, you swing big, you can miss big.
And you hear people saying, well, we should be offering incentives. Bring them here. Get them here. But there's a cost on that, too.
Absolutely. Yeah, and again, maybe there's a case for that, but again, I think it's always important to let the community know, or try to make that choice real for them. So, okay, you want to incent, that cost is going to come back on you.
Expanding the tax base is one way that you can keep property taxes lower and maybe even utility rates lower. But people are complaining now that we can't afford a 5.7% tax increase. We can't afford to have higher utility rates. That's one of the hot button issues, I think. You probably have some thoughts on that.
Fair. That's completely fair. I guess, again, I think we need to keep a wider perspective here. So the bottom fell out from our natural gas company in 2015. So 2017 was the first election that we had that was properly dealing with that. We made progress on that. COVID hit us, and then the second election of 2021. So we're still dealing with the fallout of a pretty long-term underlying problem with the city of a reliance on this money that we no longer have. I agree. Increasing assessment is a good way to spread out those tax increases, but it has to be done sustainably. So, think about how many empty commercial properties are around town. So like if I'm incenting some developer to build more commercial properties, on paper it looks great that the assessment is increased, but I mean, all you're doing is incenting competition for already a lot of vacant commercial space. So again, you have to be careful about some of these things. I'm all about these things. I guess I really think about, what does a sustainable Medicine advantage look like?
Social issues as well is something that has come up quite frequently in the forums, particularly with the mustard seed and the difficulty that they're having in finding a location. And we see the people camped out in the parks and the people who are without regular housing. No easy solution here, but one of the things as the mayor of Medicine, that would be something you would have to really buckle down and look at.
I agree. It's got to be a priority. I think it's affecting life for businesses. It's affecting life for everybody. And it's really hard for the people that are really struggling with this, are most vulnerable here. Again, I like to keep in mind that every city is struggling with this.
We're not unique.
We are not unique. And I would say that our problems are tame in comparison. Now, that's not to say that we don't have problems that need our serious attention. But, I've lived in Edmonton for the last 2 years. My sister lives in Chicago. Been to Seattle, Los Angeles. Oof. I mean, it is scary in some of these places. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely things that, like, there's bigger things that are happening than just municipalities here. Like something bigger is going on here. But that doesn't mean that we can just shrug our shoulders. I do think there are definitely things we can do. Yeah, I mean, but again, we need to have a conversation with everyone about where some of these services are located. I think as soon as you suggest one possible solution for any of these things, someone will tell you why it won't work. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's the wrong thing to do, only that there's no perfect solutions, and so you got to keep solving problems, that come up with whatever you propose.
I think I've referred to it in previous conversations. It's like an onion. There's a lot of different layers there.
Yes. So this is, there's, obviously numerous challenges. One of them is you obviously have to mitigate like the serious problems that are really, like the people that are really struggling, both for the people that are struggling and for the side effects that come along with it. But you can't put all your money and resources there because they're just the tip of the iceberg here. So there is, I think 20% of Medicine Hatters make under $40K a year. They're really struggling with affordability there. So you have to find a way to stabilize things for them to ensure that they don't get pushed into homelessness there. So you got to tackle this problem long term as well.
One of the things we've also heard from some of the councillors is that the Municipal Government Act is changed, and maybe they feel sometimes they're a little handcuffed. You have experience in that. Do you think that interference, for lack of a better word, from Edmonton has impacted how the council in Medicine Hat or councils in Alberta have been able to do their jobs?
Do you have a specific example of what that might be?
And I saw something here just a little while ago that, and I don't know, because you see it on social media, you haven't got time to really research it, but something about the province is going to restrict how much room municipalities have to raise property taxes.
I saw that. That's right. Premier Smith sent a mandate letter to the Municipal Affairs Minister about that. I guess that's... My understanding is just in the mandate letter right now, so I don't know what that looks like as far as actual constraints on municipalities there. You're right. I mean, the taxes on municipalities have been increasing, significantly across the province there. Again, Medicine Hat is below average, but again, that doesn't mean that there isn't a serious problem here. The provincial government is also struggling with this. I will say, in some ways, they've cut provincial taxes, but they've offset that by increasing the educational taxes that they collect off of property taxes. So, they're taking it from other places that we have to collect as well. So, I hear their point, but I mean, they're doing things as well here that make it difficult for us.
The word was downloading. We've heard that a lot, where they just keep referring stuff down. The federal government does it to the province does it to the municipal
and
government.
And we do it to residents as well.
Yeah, so, it's just down. It all flows downhill.
Yeah.
I know that in reading some of your stuff, you have referred to how it takes a community to run the community. And so when I put my X on my ballot on the 20th of October, I don't just go, there you go.
Yeah.
Take care of things for the next 4 years.
Yeah, I think this is what I've spent time thinking about is if you want to do more with less or just the same with less, the only way to do that is to somehow engage with the community to pick up some of this slack that needs to get done. Yeah, I don't know how exactly to do that, but definitely there's tons of people in town that can be utilized for all kinds of things. I mean, so we have an older population, which lots of people talk about. In some ways, that might be a really underutilized resource. So you have people, that have been developing all these skills their entire life, and then when they retire, they still have all those skills. They just now have more free time. So maybe there's a way of actually not putting putting everyone to work, but I think that's the challenge of how to engage the community.
Have to think outside the box.
Absolutely, but again, easier said than done.
Yeah. Another challenge for the incoming council will be a request from the Medicine Hat Exhibition and Stampede for some funding. Mm-hmm. They have been sent back to do some more of their homework, so this is going to come back to a new council. If you were sitting in the mayor's chair and you have someone from the Medicine Hat Exhibition and Stampede holding their hand out, what's your response going to be?
Well, there's a lot of competing priorities coming up there. I've been watching some of this as well. I will say I think it's important to maintain what we have before expanding to new things. So obviously the mayor doesn't get to dictate these things, but I will say that I do have concerns about that South End Rec Park. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of uncertainty for the city's financial picture. A lot of people are struggling with affordability, and so from my perspective, it doesn't seem like the right time for a $150 million water park that's going to significantly increase operating expenses year over year, especially, again, when there's things like the Stampede, which have historically been a key part of this community for a long time. Again, now that doesn't mean that, we can necessarily give the Stampede everything that they want, because there is a bigger picture here of, again, the city is not made of money either, so we'll have to figure something out with them.
Needs versus wants.
Everybody says that, but I mean, everybody has a different concept of what needs and wants are. Again, I think the challenge for council is that not everybody in this community is struggling. So, I would say Medicine Hat Housing did a housing strategy there, and so they looked at, just the general outlook of the community. So I would say 30% are struggling with housing costs. So generally, they're struggling with affordability. 30% are doing okay, and 30% are doing great. So, yeah, for the 30% that are doing okay or great, they might want more rec facilities for their kids, for sports tourism, all those things. But unfortunately, the people who are struggling at the bottom, they're going to be much more sensitive to any property tax increases, and they're going to feel it first. So, it's tough to balance those things.
I've said this with previous guests that one of the rarest forms, most valuable form of currency in the city right now is that ballot, the X. Mm-hmm. We only get to spend one vote on the mayor. So why should people put their X beside the name Kris Samraj?
I know I know a lot of people kind of think about elections as right or wrong. I will say that I don't think you should think about it that way. I mean, you've got, 6 different candidates here that are analyzing a very complex situation here. We all have different priorities there. Each of our ideas comes with risks and benefits. The city is bigger than any one of us. I would say no matter who you vote for, I think the city will be fine. This is my home. So if it doesn't work out for me, I have enough experience and creativity to continue to work at this from a different way. So I'm not going anywhere. Drew's, I'm 45. I could conceivably run again for another 20 years here. So I'm happy to play the long game on some of these things. I realize some of the things that I'm selling, are different. So sometimes these things take time for people to kind of understand what I'm pitching.
But it is encouraging to see 6 people with the different viewpoints all seeking the same chair. We have choices.
Absolutely, exactly. Yeah,
And one of those choices is Kris Samraj on the 20th of October for mayor. Kris, thank you for your visit.
Thanks for having me.